Greetings. Welcome back to the Steam Deck. Welcome back to Fluffy Banana Tech. Let's talk about this, and let's talk about the honeymoon phase wearing off. So, look. The very first video where you saw this thing was the video where I said, I hate my Nintendo Switch. Might be starting to go back on that word and kind of eating crow, huh? Just cause. This is a really old game. This is a game I would sort of expect it to be able to run no problem. Yeah. See that frame counter? That's right, you're getting a total of 10 in the menu. You know what? That's not just a thing for the one game, right? While we talk, why don't we just see how this launches? I haven't launched it in a couple of days. Guess what? It doesn't. It doesn't launch. It just sits there. Okay, there's been an update, maybe. Funny enough, Grand Theft Auto 5 works beautifully. So, like, compatibility. That is a big gripe I have here, right? I know. You can see the camera. Here. I guess we can do something like this. There you go. Less camera. Anyway. So, the, compatibility on some games absolutely sucks. Some games don't really work. The whole, you know how like Steam marks games. I can't show you because I want to see if this will launch now. But the whole thing that Steam does with Steam Deck is they have categories for games great on Steam Deck, playable or something. And if you click on the little menu, it'll show you like exactly what's wrong with the game. Some games are like American Truck Simulator. Look, it's totally playable. It's totally fine. It's not a big deal. All it is that some text is small. That's a small screen. What do you expect, right? I guess that they don't have text scaling? Screen scaling? I don't know, whatever it is. That's fine. Some games, like Just Cause you just saw, it launches, but then it has that stupid thing where it'll just sit there. This one, well, let's play Grand Theft Auto 4. Start. This one just sits at this screen. There has been an update to it in the last, I don't know, however long it's been. But I haven't played it. I haven't even tried it on this thing. So, here's what I'm figuring out real fast with the Steam Deck. If you have a 64 gig model, buy a micro SD card. Don't like, you can change the SSD in here. But, hear me out. If you buy a micro SD card, you're probably not going to fill it up. Because your Steam library is not going to work. At least a sizable chunk of it, right? But that's because I have a sizable chunk of old games. Like old AAA games, right? I mean... So, usually it seems like it's centered around the whole DRM stuff. Like, old outdated DRM doesn't really want to play nice with this thing. So you're almost guaranteed it won't work and whatnot. That's fine. It's running Linux. It's running Linux through a compatibility layer to Windows software. I don't have a problem with that. You can still play a ton of games. I do miss the fact that on the Switch, you knew you could play the games on the Switch. You know, this is PC gaming, but more fiddly, right? Like, way more fiddly. Way more fiddly. Because it's Linux. But you know what? Here's the deal. Here's the deal. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's just that the honeymoon phase is over. So now I'm kind of stuck in this thing where I'm starting to realize this isn't necessarily a full-on replacement for a Switch. If you like to casually pick it up and just slot a game in and play, or play whatever game you have on the SD card, which, by the way, on the Switch, you get a micro SD slot, you can download games to the micro SD slot, just like on the Steam Deck. They're very similar, right? That's kind of cool, I guess. So we're about 5 minutes into this, and yep, this is where it'll sit. I've left it on this screen for about an hour. Didn't do anything. Anyway, that's kind of the game compatibility thing that sort of wore off for me. Once I got past the Grand Theft Autos, the kind of the games that I want to play right now, and got into sort of the older games that I have, or the more odd games, it gets kind of choppy, which, that's fine. The other thing, and I really wish Valve did this. See how you got this big, giant back plate on there? With just cooling holes here, and that's it? I really wish that somewhere on this thing, they just put pogo pins or some sort of latch mechanism to put a battery pack. Preferably with pogo pins on it. That way you could just slap a battery on here, be done. That would be amazing. Do you know why that would be amazing? Because this thing has a battery life of a severely old laptop with a failing battery. I think I've seen about 2 hours out of it. I mean, like two and a half hours. That's about the best I can do out of it. At least playing the games I want to play, and that is with the GDP turned down to, I think, 10 watts or something on the CPU. Not even full tilt. So this isn't a look. So consoles, whatever, handheld consoles, you just get a battery pack, right? Or external battery, a battery bank, right? You get a battery bank and you move on with life. Let me tell you. Here's a battery bank. I really don't want to show off that branding because I kind of hate the company now. But if you can guess what this is, good for you. Anyway, this thing will do. Let's get the actual spec on it. This thing will do. Looks like 6 amps. It'll do 6 amps out of the USB ports. That's fantastic. If you have a smartphone. This isn't a smartphone. This wants power. This wants to suck the power juice in, right? So now I gotta go get a new power bank. I haven't decided on what sort of power bank I'm gonna get. I think the OEM charger with this is 45 watt. I'm leaning towards a 65, 100 watt battery bank. That way you can do laptops and stuff. I don't know yet. But you should stick around because, you'll get to see. Right? Do I miss my Switch? Well, I still have my Switch. I still have my Switch. I haven't really powered it on since I got this thing. But the the battery life, it's kind of wearing off on me, right? Like you can't take this thing without a charging solution with you and expect it to work. At least for a whole day or whatever. I have run into a couple of weird things. Some games, this thing won't put itself to sleep if you don't manually do it with the little button here. That's sort of annoying, because look, here's a Steam Deck. Here's the box it came in. Yes, that's right. Valve gives you. Don't mind the fur. There's animals in the house. Yeah, they give you an actual case for this thing. A really, really nice case. What I kind of wish they did was, instead of indenting this in like that, which is alright. Oh, is that what that's for? Okay. Okay. Steam Deck. Alright, so first and foremost, let's settle this guy. This is a 15 volt, 3 amp, 20 volt, 2.25 amp charger. I think I figured out what this gap is for, and I really wish the cap wasn't like this. Is this what you're meant to do with it? I mean, kind of makes sense, right? You bundle up your cable, you stick your charger in there. I can't think of any other reason to have this giant gap in here. I really wish that Valve did what Nintendo did with the official Switch case. So, padded. I don't care for this stand thing that they have, but see, it's the exact opposite. It's indented this way, so you can store some games. See? Games, or in the case of the Steam Deck, I don't know, maybe. I mean, you just saw you can stick the charger in here. Maybe allow you to put the charger inside the case, underneath the Steam Deck. You know, like, I know this. I know. This is a kind of a weird thing. Ugh. I never looked at the documentation. Maybe there's something cool. Think there's any swag in here? I don't think so. Health, safety, and maintenance. Okay. So, here's the deal. This whole book. This is stupid. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. That's how much of this book you actually need if you want to read the warranty info. All the rest of this is in different languages. I see absolutely zero reason why this exists Simply because you could do what most phone manufacturers do and just integrate all of that info into just integrate all that info into the OS itself, into the device, and post it up on your website, right? So yeah, the honeymoon's kind of wearing off on this thing a little bit. I mean, it's, ooh, shiny. Well, the shiny is great, but it's starting to get a little long in the tooth with some of the issues. Switch has a lot of issues too. I still much prefer this as a gaming experience to the Switch. These thumbsticks are just, they're just wonderful. Switch has little tiny thumbsticks, and I get why they're tiny, but yeah. But look, we've been here for 15 minutes. This still hasn't launched. This isn't some indie game. This is something I would expect to launch through Rockstar's launcher. Exit. Go back. And this is where the Steam... See? This is where I don't understand it. It says it's playable. It says playable. I can't get it to launch. Like, I don't want to mess around with it more than I need to. I've verified the installation files multiple times on this thing. Can't get it to launch. That's it. This is infuriating in some ways, especially when the game says playable and it indeed is not. Alternatively, this says playable. It has the same reasons. Well, actually, it has one more. It doesn't set the Steam Deck screen as default resolution, whatever. This is playable, and this works fantastic. This doesn't even have any info. It's playable. You have to map the controls on it, but it's playable. This, no info, playable, 2007 game. This, 2006 game, not playable. There's some real weird disconnects there. Now, this isn't my whole library at this point. I've hidden a lot of games and stuff, and frankly, I'm slowly going through it, trying to figure out what works, what doesn't. Yeah. I was looking at getting an SSD for it, but considering I don't want to open it up too many times, I guess I can skip on it for now. The micro SD works fine. It's a 512 micro SD in here. I have 14 games installed. Still nowhere near filling this thing up. Don't quote me on, oh well, I can get away with 512. You might not, right? 166 gigs free. You might not get away with it. You might be one of those folks that downloads Warzone and a couple other things, and all of a sudden this thing fills up. So, yeah. Anyway, this has been a really long video talking about this, mostly ranting. The honeymoon phase has sort of wore off a bit. I wish it had a bigger battery. Like, I wouldn't care if they made this thing way chunkier. Just make it chunky right there where the battery is. I wouldn't care if it was chunkier. The game compatibility, I get it. It's like, I mean, it's a marvel that this thing works as well as it does with the stuff that it does work with, right? Um, yeah. I just wish it had a little bit of a bigger battery. Maybe. Valve changed this guy to have storage for the charger. Or at least a battery. Or, Valve, if you're listening, please give me a backpack add-on for this. I bet you there's somebody that's made a 3D printed bracket already, but give me a backpack style add-on that can do charging this thing at the correct speed. This will sit on charge and lose battery life if you don't have an appropriate charger. So, you kind of need a fancy, basically laptop charger. Thankfully, those are coming down in price. Anyways, that's kind of my assessment of the Steam Deck for now. Just kind of wearing off on the honeymoon phase, right? It's still shiny. And I like shiny. Anyway, comment, like, subscribe. If you dislike this, I'm sure you can dislike it. YouTube doesn't show dislikes anymore, but hey, I'll see them. See ya.